Good afternoon to you, everybody. Welcome. My name is Alex McPhail. This is High Performance Teams, and today I've got a great guest lined up for you today. Fatima Jakoet used to be a forensic investigator. She's an MBA graduate, a Harvard alumni, and the founder of Sakhikmava NGO, which we're going to get into detail once we get into the meat of this conversation. But she did all of this while being a professional pilot with South African Airways. It's going to be a great conversation. Thanks for joining. Please remember to ask your questions, interact, and I'll try and pick out the best questions as we go along. This is High Performance Teams. Please stay with me. Fatima, how are you doing today in Cape Town?
Hi, good afternoon, everybody, and good afternoon to our viewers or listeners listening into this program this afternoon. It's a nice cold Cape Town here. You can see I've got my jacket on. I'm ready to chat to you, Alex, and thank you so much for the opportunity to be able to tune in here with you.
Oh, wonderful. Thanks for your time today. I know I've been looking at all these pictures of you that we shared, and we discussed how we're going to, your career so far, and every picture looks just like you sitting there now with a big smiling face. It looks like you really do just enjoy life, even though it's a cold day full of smiles.
Of course, yes.
It's a freezing day up here as well. I woke up ice cold this morning in Pretoria. But okay, so Fatima, none of us are flying right now, so let's have a conversation all about flying, and let's go back a couple of years to formative years for you. And as a youth, as an adolescent, where did this idea of aviation come in? I know you didn't start right away in flying, but certainly there must have been some spark. So where did the spark for aviation start for you?
I'm going to have to take you way, way back in the 1900s, if I can put it that way. It all started with a dream. And from my side, it was always an impossible dream. So I never thought it would be possible, looking at an airplane, looking up into the sky and thinking, I'll be in control of that machine one day. The desire was there, but the belief didn't match that. So I had many dreams. I am a dreamer. So I thought, you know what? The best thing I can do is get into medical school, and then buy my own airplane and then fly Africa from the bottom to the top and heal the world as such. So guess what? I did not get into medical school. So unfortunately, and then I went to study chemistry. I graduated with a technical degree in chemistry, a BTech in chemistry, and then I joined the Department of Health as a forensic toxicologist. Oops, I think okay, I'm good. It was an unsafe landing, but it's okay. Yeah.
Back in the game. Okay, but before you carry on with the toxicology, because you've kind of flashed over quite important things. So you had this big dream of flying. And you recognize that a way to do it is to just earn enough money to buy yourself an airplane, and you set off down this path. But already that first hurdle hits you. You don't get into medicine. So how do you shake that off? Or what was your feeling at the time? Because the bigger dream really is to get the airplane and get flying, and the first hurdle hits you. What is your approach at that first hurdle?
Okay, so my first hurdle is really not getting into medical school, because that was also a passion of mine. And you kind of try to find out what is the second best thing to do that, because now your path is not straight. It's not straight to your destination. There's a little bit of a sidestep that I had to do, but that doesn't deter me. That didn't deter me at the time. So I thought, where there's a will, there's a way, and I will tell everyone this: if you have the desire if you can dream it, you can be it. Mm-hmm. But so then I got involved in toxicology, which is basically post-mortem tissue analysis in suicide cases, animals that are being poisoned, drug cases, doing drug testing, levels of drug testing in the human body or so, and and testifying in court, of course. And then I got like a little bit bored, and the SAPS offered me a 9mm parabellum, and basically, and that was enough to get me to their side and join their narcotics team, also as a forensic scientist. And, you know, I had this colleague, and we're still very good friends. And we used to sit in the office every day, and Gerard used to tell me about his dream to become a pilot. And I was like, and behind me, because we sat opposite each other in the office, and behind me there was the 747, the SIA 747, a picture of it. And so every morning I would walk into the office, and that would be the first thing I'd see. And Gerard and I used to talk about flying all the time. And so when we eventually got to my second crime scene, and that was at Cape Town International Airport. And in those days, and this is a long time ago, we could still go onto the tarmac without any, this is before 9/11, and without the security. So there I was standing in front of this gigantic, am I allowed to mention any airline's names?
Yeah, go for it. Go for it.
In front of this, you can imagine standing in front of 747, and the scale in blue, magnificent 747, you know, it's like almost 5 stories high. And I was like, I want to fly. I want to be in control of this machine one day.
Yeah.
I need to, and it was really calling, and call me crazy, but it was like whispering to me, Fatima, come on. It was just the most amazing. That was for me the moment, a defining moment in my life.
Okay.
And
all right.
I realized.
I want to, you don't flash forward the interesting parts. Okay, so you're sitting there and you're both dreamers, thinking about what you could do in an alternative existence, and you're firing each other up. And one of the early opportunities is on the hard stand there in Cape Town. So what is the crime scene? What are you investigating there?
Oh, so it was a Sao Paulo flight, and we had a mule.
Okay.
It was like a mule that would come in, that was coming in with some merchandise. So, and it was cocaine, if I can put it that way. So with that, you know, we were the police officers on the scene, and you know what? I even had my gun on the tarmac.
Nice.
See how things have changed, right?
Yeah.
So back to the crime scene.
Yeah.
So we waited for about 2-3 hours before we actually got hold of the how do I put this, about the suspect.
Okay.
We got hold of the suspect, and eventually we managed to secure the drugs. And then we went back to the office. And guess what? That was the Tuesday. The Sunday, the advertisement for cadet pilot program was in that Sunday newspaper. And I was the Tuesday morning before we went to the crime scene. Gerard and I were both discussed, you know, must I apply? Shall I apply? And when we were back in the laboratory, I was like, I need to apply, but still not believing that I'm gonna get into this program. 20/20 vision, certain weight, mathematics and science, you know, all those requirements. Oh, gee whiz, I wasn't sure that I didn't believe in myself. But it took Gerard to believe in me in order for me to say I can do it.
Okay, so he's Gerard's like your wingman in the office there, and he's egging you on. You've had this experience with the airplane on the flight line, and he's saying, come on, Fatima, you can do it.
At that time, he was my biggest fan, and you know what? He's still my biggest fan. He supports me 100% whenever. We're still good family friends.
Oh, great.
And so I applied for the cadet pilot program, got the invitation. Can you believe it? In those days, we still got a telegram.
Wow.
You know what a telegram is? Does anyone know what a telegram is? It makes me feel so old. It's not that long ago. It's not 20 years ago.
Yeah.
I still got a telegram say, I can't remember, Fatima, and I remember the full stop is typed out as in stop. So
Yeah.
after every sentence, it's like stop. You are invited for a psychometric test, stop.
Yeah.
So we did the psychometric test. I got past that psychometric test. I got through, that was the very first time that I actually flew. I got the opportunity to fly to Johannesburg to go and do my medical.
Okay,
And
that's not an uncommon occurrence. There's people have these desires, but they never had the opportunity, and they end up having this first chance to go for the selection of some training, whether it's the Air Force or these cadet programs. Wonderful. Now that must have been a nice moment for you too, getting in this airplane and then heading off up there. Also quite nervous, I would imagine. You've had this idea, a dream, and now
yeah,
they say, "Come and have a look."
yeah, but I wasn't shy to go and visit the flight deck and sit there for the landing. But getting onto the airplane, going through the whole process of checking in your ticket and standing in the queue, waiting to get on board this airplane. And I was like, we were flying there was still the Airbus 300, hey, if I
Yeah.
remember correctly, that I flew on. And yeah, it was just an amazing experience. It was like I wanted to scream to everyone, I'm going to Johannesburg to go do my cadet pilot test. And so my medical, got through the medical. The first type of simulator session that we had was a computerized simulator. So then I actually didn't make it after that. So there goes another dream shattered. At the same time, my grandfather, my late grandfather, was living with us, and I was so devastated that I didn't get in. And he said to me, "No, my girl, you will get in." And I applied for the second time, and the second time I managed to go through the whole process. In the meantime, my grandfather was diagnosed with lung cancer,
Oh,
and before I could tell him that I got in the cadet pilot program, I unfortunately passed away.
oh, shame.
So in February, this process took about 2 or 3 years. In 2001, in February 2001, I got another telegram. Going through the whole process now. I'm fast forwarding again, Alex. And I got another telegram saying, "Congratulations, stop. You have been selected as cadet pilot program." So we were 16 on course.
Oh,
So I
wonderful.
had to resign from my really cushy job, and unfortunately I had to give the gun back. And
It was at a hard moment for you giving back the 9 millimeter.
but you know what? That the sheer fact that I got into the cadet pilot program, it was overwhelming. It was scary. It was exciting. It was you can just all the emotions in the dictionary. It was there. It was present.
And then you
So
get
I had to
sent off
pack
to
my
Australia, and a whole new adventure awaits in front of you.
Exactly, but we first did a ground course on leadership actually,
Okay.
in Johannesburg, and it's the first time I lived a very sheltered life. I grew up in a small town, and I didn't know I didn't view my view. I had tunnel vision, if I can put it, but my view of the world was very innocent. It was uh, yeah, it was just not what I expected, packing my bags and going and living away from home. So we did our first course, which was a leadership type of course, and then we did a short course at 43 in Port Alfred, and then off we went. So that was also still part of the selection process. So we weren't guaranteed that we were going to go to Australia and do our flying training.
Okay, all right.
And
Another little milestone along the way. If you get your ticket to Australia, you're making progress.
yes, still with the telegrams, getting a ticket. I'm joking. And off we went to Perth. We flew to Perth. First long haul flight. No, it wasn't my first long haul flight. I actually went to Malaysia before that. In that 3 years that I waited for the selection program.
Okay.
And so there we got to the outback. But I'll tell you, the very first time I flew in an airplane, I was in control of an airplane. My very first hour was on this glider. And there I experienced the serenity like I've never experienced before. In this glider with no engine, it was the most quiet moment. And I witnessed the greenest, believe it or not, in the outback in Australia. The greenness of green, the different shades of green. It was so quiet, I could hear my heart beat.
Oh, wow.
There were no other sounds except quietness and my heartbeat. My heart was pumping so fast. And I was like, I've arrived. The sky is my home. This is it. I want to. It was so serene. And yeah, Australia, let me tell you about that experience now. Now it felt like the pressure was on. There was no going back. If I fail now, I mean, we all have a little bit of pride. Who's going to go back to forensics after you've been selected on a academic program?
Sure.
My very first obstacle was going solo. It took me, I was the last person on the course to go solo.
Oh, and the pressure starts building on top of the pressure that's already there.
Yes, but I had huge mental challenges. I was not assertive enough. I wasn't confident enough. And once I established what my challenges were, I realized, either I jack up my game or I go home. So that was a big hurdle for me, that assertiveness and that confidence, gaining that confidence, because now it's not about the ability, the textbook ability that you have, or the other degree that you've studied, or the other work experience. It is about gaining that confidence and interacting with the machine now.
Yes.
This machine that I went to, this small little thing that I was allowing it to overpower instead of empowering myself. So,
all right.
Once I made a concerted effort to work on my confidence and flying the chair for endless hours. By the time I went solo, I had more hours in the chair than actually in the aircraft. So,
for those student pilots that are listening now, that's a very good exercise to fly the chair. Go to the flight in the chair beforehand, before the briefing, so that when you get in the briefing, it's the second time, and when you get in the airplane, it's the third time you're flying that same profile. Excellent tip.
Yeah. Then things went a little bit smoother. I won't say it was perfect, but I think it was great to have such that amount of pressure to be able to perform and finishing the course in a certain amount of time. We graduated about 16 months later with a frozen ATPL. And lots of exciting times. I remember, I remember that the night before we left, or the morning that we left, there was a fountain in Adelaide with lots of washing powder in it. That's all I'm going to
The celebrations.
It was a big bubble bath.
But it sounded like good, clean fun, Fatima, so that's fine.
It was good, clean fun. And back into, but there was an event during that time there that I didn't realize was going to affect my career. I was standing in front. We were studying for our aerodynamics PPL exam, and there we saw one airplane, and then the second airplane going through the World Trade Center buildings. And I never thought that, it's not going to affect me. But when I came back to South Africa, that is like, now you are so I'm not going to use a swear word. You are so overconfident. I was going to use an Afrikaans word, so those Afrikaans listeners and viewers. So overconfident in your ability. You are excited getting back to South Africa. You are going to fly. You're living your dream basically.
Yeah.
And you're going to fly passengers and you're going to see the world. So I joined Airlink in November 2002 as a first officer, and I did my conversion in the States. There I was very nervous because it said flight simulator training on my visa, and I thought that it's going to be a problem getting into the US. This whole
The
thing
look.
here on my head. The look, I don't fit the look of the pilot, but I came into the States and then everything was just fine and dandy. I got the immigration officer said to me, welcome to America, and without any hassle, we did our Jetstream 41 conversion and came back to South Africa. I mean, there, sitting in the right-hand seat, the very first flight, I think I went to Kruger International Airport, and there I am with just the shiny wings here on my shirt and the gold bars, and I'm kitted. And I was so far behind. I felt so far behind the airplane. It felt like I needed my own scorecard. But a fantastic experience flying the Jetstream, flying through storms in the summertime, all around Pietermaritzburg. We still have those 3 NDB approaches.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And the 3 NDB approaches in the thunderstorm, you can imagine how those needles and tuning the radio. It's not like flying a glass cockpit.
No, not for sissies. Yeah.
That was probably a highlight in my flying career at Airlink, and even my flying career. So there we then I got into SAA in 2005. I started in June, which is like 15 years and 1 week ago, and there I got into my very first airplane. Remember that KLM 747? That was my first conversion at SAA.
Oh, okay. So then now that you bring it up, I think we need to just put a little picture up, because this is a talking point coming later on in the show. But while you talk about it now, so it's Lufthansa. But so this is a photo that you've taken, and we can just share a little bit about the concept. Now you're an airline pilot, and I'm an airline pilot, and flying around the world. This is one of these professions that you can look out at another piece of equipment. So you're in your Airbus, and it's a grand machine that you're in here, and you look outside and you can just appreciate another beautiful machine out there, and obviously it signifies your start with the 747 on the flight line in Cape Town, and appreciate enough to take a photo and then take the time to send this to me. It's one of those weird things about pilots, is that you'll forever go around looking at airplanes and just appreciating them.
That's so true, hey? I mean, there's no aircraft that I don't. I always take a photograph of any airplane. Okay, a 747.
Yeah,
that is something I don't miss. Yeah. That's something I should have sent you some of the approach photos that I've got, and videos that I have, and landings. I've got tons of photos of aircraft landings. It's just so amazing to sit out of one dream and knowing that somewhere in that airplane somebody had a similar dream of becoming a pilot, and there they are living their dream. And then there are passengers sitting in there also dreaming of becoming a pilot, whatever their dreams are. And we take people to their destinations, to their dreams, a holiday destination, to a place of work, meeting a family, going to weddings, going to somebody's birthday party. Sure. We take people across the world and we connect them with whatever is happening in their life. And that is the most amazing thing about our job. Not only do we get to see the world or live our dream or fly the airplanes that we so much desire to fly, but we also see other living their dreams, yeah.
So, Fatima, I think that when the iPad fell, just if you could just check your audio connection, I'm getting a bit of feedback. Just check the mic plug. Is it connected there properly on the
That's
iPad?
good. Sorry to
Just check.
just check. Do you think it's maybe because something
Oh, no. All right.
is
Well, we'll carry on. I'm hearing a little bit of feedback as we're talking, but no problem. Okay, so the connection all fine there. Is it plugged in fine? Okay. Okay. All right. Well, we'll work through it. Okay. So back to the thing. So you're on the flight line, and one of the first aircraft you see is again a 747, a beautiful thing, and you start off as an in-flight relief then on the 747. Is that right? Or were you on the 340?
Yeah.
Wow.
747-400, and we go to London. Our first flight was to London.
Nice. Mine too. It was a great start. The first flight to London was wonderful.
It was wonderful. I can't explain. We did 10-day Washington. We did the first flight to Washington via Accra.
Oh, nice.
And there was a 10-day flight, and gee whiz, it's amazing. The US going to all those Smithsonian museums and be able to see the different type of aircraft. You know, there's one at Dallas International Airport. I don't know if you've been there or anyone has been there. Amazing.
It's amazing.
I mean, the size and the excitement that and the passion that you can see in other people in aviation. Just to live that and to see that and to witness that. And then, of course, there is the shopping. And if Annabelle is tuned, she's my shopping partner. I have to mention that.
There you go, Annabelle. You can now post your questions live. She's engaging with you already. Annabelle is watching. She's already said hello. There's a few people tuning in. Rihanna has said hello. Quibus has said hello. Jock and Ryan and Jordan and Fran. And people are saying hello. So post your questions. You got any questions for Fatima? Now is a good time. But okay, I was going to do it the other way around, but seeing as we're talking about it and you have such passion and vivid memory for your first days and the dream, I want to flip it around. I was going to end with Sakhikmava, but let's zoom into Sakhikmava now. So you get yourself settled in the airline, you're flying around the world, and within a couple of years, you decide it's time to give back and share the good news of aviation. So tell me about how you got this. What does it mean to you? How did you get it going? What is Sakhikmava?
Okay, Sakhikmava is something that is an avenue for me to connect people. I live by a saying that I want to give wings to the dreams of others. And having had the privilege of being a cadet pilot and being sponsored by SAA, having had the privilege to live something that I so much desired, I want the next generation to see that that is a possibility, especially the fact that I never thought that becoming a pilot would be a reality. It was never a reality. It was never an avenue. It was never an option for me. And this is now a way for me to say there is a future for you, and that's why Sakhikmava means building a future. So that's why I want to build a future with young aviators. Look at them. They have such great dreams and aspirations.
Okay, so this is obviously the early age guys. They come in, they get involved, and you give them basic sort of puzzles and maths, Sudoku, etc. And they're coming in all bright, big smiles and full of enthusiasm, as young people do. At what age do you start sort of allowing them or bringing them or exposing kids in? Is there a young age limit?
Okay, we had from 2-year-olds, we start very young, but officially we start at about school-going age. So we'll start with exposing them to a little bit of the practical side of mathematics, the art side of mathematics. You'll see that they're building Doodlebots, which is a robot that they build that can draw. And see all the scribbles there. And we have a challenge that to see how many who can let the Doodlebots draw the most concentric circles, or we'd give them a couple of challenges. It doesn't take long, 20 minutes, and they have so much fun in that 20 minutes or that hour that they interact with us. So the foundation started off with exposing kids to aviation, but then we saw that there's a need to strengthen or enrich the children's lives with mathematics and science and technology, so it's STEM education. So as I said earlier on, we start with the age of about 7, and we go up, and we have various programs until grade 11, and then our scholarship program that we also have established a couple of years ago. In 2012 already we established the scholarship program. So we also developed the stream.
The scholarship program, there you actually are providing a full scholarship bursary for someone to become a commercial pilot. Is that right?
That's correct. But our program, what works best is a hybrid type of program. Okay. So we will have contact with the flight schools. We've partnered with flight schools, and we will give them we negotiated discounted rates. Okay. We will pay for subjects and ground school on a merit basis. Okay. And we will also give a sort of an allowance where one of our students went solo at 11 hours, so we gave him like 5 hours free.
Oh, wow.
Not free, paid for 5 hours. So the scholarship is not a pure scholarship. They have to go through a selection process in any case. It works best when the student is financially invested to a level as well.
Sure.
It is very expensive to become a pilot, and scholarships are scarce, and selection processes are also, that is the key to success for us. So we've got a psychometric test, we've got an interview, we've got a medical, we've got a flight simulator. We've got one flight simulator in Cape Town, which is the Piper Tomahawk at our stream laboratory, and we've got one with we share one with. There you can see the flight simulator. That's Tommy, the Piper Tomahawk. We converted an old aircraft that the students actually put together.
Oh, nice!
And we converted into a flight simulator.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is this a place that people go and sort of hang out and like soak it up, as it were, or do you have to kind of really be enrolled in a program? I mean, can you just come and be part of this thing and immerse yourself?
Yes, you can come in. We've got about 7 or 8 areas of interaction. So we've got robotics in our stream laboratory. We've got the air traffic control tower. We've got a simulation room. We work with drones, coding, and just to enrich and strengthen the pipeline for aviation and the aerospace industry. We also have a space room. Our space room, we've got a program that's the flight simulator room as well, and that you see there now. And we've got a space room. I don't know if I've seen a picture for you of the space room. We connect with the International Space Station and astronauts and scientists around the world for our kids, so that they don't have this isolated experience of technology. Makes it so easy for us these days to connect with people.
Isn't it wonderful? I mean, to watch. I mean, I'm sure you're being involved in STEM and aviation and aerospace. Yeah. The launch last week was incredible. I mean, I kept my kids up. They're young, and we stayed up late to watch it. And the next day, we watched them docking. I mean, what an amazing time to be alive! To just watch spacemen, astronauts dock at the International Space Station in real time, and so you can interact with this crowd of people. And if you look at the way even the games, Microsoft Flight Simulator, interacting with real-time weather, and you can interact with other people from other parts of the world, it's an amazing time. So you brought this collaboration into Sakhikmava too.
Yes, the stream laboratory. We've got one in at Lanseria International Airport as well, at the Skywalk hangar. And if I look at the amount of coverage that we've had, that we could implement, the programs that we could implement, it's so broad, but it also has its depth. It's not a once-off, like they say, a science spray. We interact with them for a couple of years, and we're busy with working on a tracking system so that we enable the a developed pipeline, so that we can look back and say, where did this all start for the student? And not only saying, oh, let me go to somewhere, and interact with kids in a small town, but how do we keep that child engaged throughout their school career, and not making school just about going to school from a certain time, but making learning a fun experience and an enriching experience. So that is what Sakhikmava is about. We had astronauts out as well.
Oh,
we
wonderful.
had Dr. Charles out, and we've got we've had the astronauts out. We've connected with astronauts on the space station. We've launched a high altitude balloon and tracked the balloon.
Oh, wow.
So there's so much that we do. Sometimes I wonder, are we doing enough?
But then you look back at this body of work. So tell me, Fatima, who's in your team? What is this team of Sakhikmava, and how do you guys operate and conduct all these different areas? I mean, what does your team look like?
Our team is our board used to be the operational board, but that has shifted over the last 2-3 years. I still manage the foundation and the operational side, and then we have facilitators who implement the programs. We've got the administrators looking at the background work, the project management thereof, and so we work on a project basis. We've got an exciting camp. I think our STEM camp is one of our big points of when we start from grade 10 to 12. To have the kids to see that how do they connect with industry. So our team work basically on a project basis, and we've got a team of about 6 that's on the operational side.
Okay, wow. And I know that some of the other SAA colleagues also get involved from time to time as well. It must be gratifying as well, knowing that the work that you're doing is respected amongst your peers too. Sometimes you venture out into something and you kind of wonder, I want to do this thing, but how is it going to be received? But I mean, Annabelle's just sent a message now too saying, hi, shopping partner, you've got such a passion for the kids, feeding them out your own pocket. And she said, you rock. So just to get that gratification from your peers and friends that this is good and they also want to be involved, that must make you feel good and satisfied.
Yeah. The fact that, we have colleagues that occasionally they come in and they volunteer, that, we don't, it's not always just about how much money you can raise, but it's about look, there's some pilots there in the back. We're all pilots there in that picture, but the pilots in the background, we did this spin-a-thon to raise funds for these guys to go and study at 43 Air School. The one on the picture on the right-hand side, he started at 43 Air School last year and he's almost finished with his comm subject, so he'll finish. So he works as a cadet is a qualified air traffic controller now, and then finishing his commercial license later this year. And then he can start with his instructor's rating, and then off he goes.
It's wonderful. Fatima, it's nice that this thing can turn full circle, and presumably when he gets his instructor's rating, this individual again will now give back, and this thing will be almost a self-driving engine. It'll be, people will come to the system and then give back into the system once more.
And that is what we hope to achieve, that it's not just a once-off, just giving out a bursary, but also giving back to the community what you've received.
There's a picture of Helen Ziller visiting you guys, and I presume that's Tommy, the aircraft, coming to visit and give you the support there. Great to see the support from the government level as well.
Yeah, from a local government level, I mean, it is quite a special center that opened in Cape Town, and the Premier at the time came to visit, and the MEC for Education as well came to visit our center at the Stream Laboratory. To have that level of interaction and endorsement from government and the support and the acknowledgement that what the difference that we make to the education in South Africa.
Now, I'll put these two pictures side by side because this Sakhikmava on the right is allowing people to have the dream of the picture on the left, where you can line up with your Boeing 737-800 and look at a bunch of aircraft in front of you, knowing that you've come from a dream and now you're living out that dream. And another great shot there. I presume you've taken the photo through the visor there of the Airbus and catching a bit of a bright light coming through.
I actually think that isn't that the, oh yeah, it must be the Airbus. I was thinking that the 737 has a visor, it doesn't have a visor, so.
No problem. Fatima, we've got some questions. So Hayden is asking, from aircraft to technology, what are some of the biggest changes that you've seen in the airline industry over your career as a pilot?
The technology, I think it is over the last 17, 18 years that I've been flying. I mean, look, going from analog to digital to a glass cockpit, and how our interaction, especially, and also looking at the difference between Boeing and Airbus, the kind of skills that you require is different, but it allows us to grow, and it will continue to grow at even a more rapid rate in the next 10, 20 years, how we interact with technology and what technology, the level of automation that, I mean, when we learn to fly, we hand fly, and then now we've got autopilot and an aircraft that can land itself. You know, it's just amazing, the technology, but that means that we as pilots or as individuals as well, we must be aware and conscious of the fact that we need to constantly grow and adapt to the technology that is made available. And so, I mean, 10 years, what you have, the skills that you have 10 years ago and the skill that you have now is totally different. And you must allow yourself to grow within the industry.
Okay, that brings you to a nice point. Thanks, good answer. So along the way, you've been an airline pilot. Before that, you were in the police doing the forensics. You started this foundation, but you thought maybe just quickly finish off an MBA at Stellenbosch and then do some more coursework at Harvard Business School. So talk me through that. I mean, an MBA, we could spend a while on it, but I want to fast forward for the sake of time and tell me about your experience going to Harvard. I mean, that's another one of those sort of dreams. As a kid, we watch TV programs of people, bright people and fortunate people that get to Harvard. So tell me about your Harvard experience.
No, you don't need to be bright to get into Harvard. I can do it, anyone else can do it, everyone else can do it. I once again very lucky in that's graduation number 1 at Harvard Business School. And that is a living group, a team there. We basically live in a wing together, and our program was structured like a business day, meetings in the morning, meetings in the evening till 10 o'clock. So you start your day off, with breakfast in the morning, and then a meeting, and then classes. But the class, let me quickly go back about getting into Harvard and how I got into Harvard before I tell you about the experience at Harvard. It was a scholarship program, the Harvard African Fellowship that I applied for, and then I got selected, and then applied at Harvard, and then got in. So the very first day that I got there at Harvard Business School, I looked at this list of people on this course, and it was vice president, director, CEO, and I'm a pilot of South African Airways, and what am I doing there? So it was overwhelming. It was overwhelming, and it was very emotional for me to think that there I am, and what am I actually? I asked myself a question: what am I actually doing here? Those are all the ladies on my course, on my second course, and that you can see there. But an amazing experience. 144 nationalities in one class.
Nice.
And and people of different life experiences. I'm talking about different disciplines, work disciplines. As I said, you get vice presidents, CEOs, founders of their businesses. They're all multi-million rand corporations all across the world. That's our team building. Team building is very important in leadership development, as we so rightly experienced there. We also had a coaching module where a coach was assigned to us and coaching us through our goals and areas that we needed coaching on. That was identified.
So was this a live-in course? You actually stayed there for a period of time?
Yes. So I went to Harvard about 3 times during that year to live and do the course, the classwork, and the group work.
Oh, wonderful! I mean, so it's an exciting experience, and there's it seems to be your signature photo these days is the jumping for joy. Lovely.
A friend of mine calls it the flying swan. So everywhere I go, I have to jump. So that's in front of the Baker. That's the Baker Library. Yeah, 600,000 books. Oh, that's my last flight in front of the 737-800, and there I am in front in the States.
So the B-2 bomber, I think, as well there.
Yeah,
nice.
I wanted to fly higher than that bomber. I wanted to see by the battery.
Well, certainly, Fatima, you live a full life, and I wanted to just say, I cut you short there on the Harvard story. So you do another sort of postgraduate training at Harvard in leadership. What have you learned out of all these different bits and pieces? So you've become you've got a graduate degree, you've become a professional pilot, you've got an MBA from Stellenbosch, and you go to Harvard as well. You've set up your own foundation. All along the way, you're working in teams. This channel is all about high performance teams. How do you see that how do you go about creating your high performance team? I mean, we work on the principle of incremental gains. You prepare well, you deliver with precision, and you review what you're doing. How assimilating all the bits and pieces over the 20 odd years of your career, how would you describe your high performance team?
Just as you said there, and then I would like to add that believing. I think that was the very first lesson I said earlier on about believing in yourself, but not only believing in yourself, but believing in your team as well, and making sure that they also believe in themselves, and that they understand that the value that they add to the team. Very important for me is that each and every member needs to understand that they add value, the value that they add to a team. Without that, you are leaving someone behind, or you're not going as fast forward as you think you would go. No.
Okay. Well, Fatima, it's been wonderful chatting with you. I really enjoyed your time today. Thank you for it. If people want to reach out to you, I mean, I know you're based in Cape Town, but does Sakhikmava have a footprint all over? You mentioned Lanseria. Is it just those 2 campuses? How would someone find out? They're interested in aviation. They want to know more. How do they get hold of you?
They can contact me on info@sakhikmava.org, and then we'll get back to them. Today, technology is, we can be anywhere we want to be. We've also started online classes and clubs. Our clubs are hosted online these days because of the lockdown.
Sure.
So yes, there is there's a way that they can contact us, and we're also in the Eastern Cape, but in Queenstown specifically, we're starting off a new adventure there.
Okay.
I can put it that way, with the kids of Queens.
And is it always, besides going the full-on scholarship route and getting your flying training, are there other courses, or is there a program that you can work through this too, besides just the casual visitor and the person going all out? Is there some sort of coursework or sort of a club affiliation with Sakhikmava for the individual?
Yes, we've got this the Stream Club, which does everything from aviation to space science, 3D printing, coding. So it is it's a membership for a year long, and then we have different levels of the stream club as well. We've got a junior and a senior club. Okay. So usually the clubs meet on Saturdays, and now it's during the week as well, whenever the kids are listed. Yeah.
Okay, great. So I'll add that to the show description below. Fatima, thank you so much for your time today. It's been wonderful chatting with you, and all the best with the rest of your virtual training throughout the year with Sakhikmava.
Oh, thank you so much, and thank you for everyone who tuned in today.
Yeah, thanks, Fatima. Well, folks, great conversation with Fatima. A wide-ranging and exciting career. Certainly no shortage of hard work going on there too. Thanks for joining in. Please remember to subscribe, share, like, put a comment down below, and stay safe until next time.